Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grapperinos, the wrestling pizzeria where we serve you a slice of probably next week on Smackdown. I'm Bryon, and joining me in this endeavor is the world's foremost Danhausen believer, or I guess you should say believerhausen, a believerhausen. Mike, say hi, Mike.
Yes, hello. I want to inform you and the people here who do not watch other sports, that Danhausen is real, man. So, about 2 weeks ago, we were in the middle of the NBA playoffs, and the Knicks had just advanced into the second round. And at this point, they were still cursed by Danhausen, because if you didn't know, when they were in MSG, Danhausen cursed the Knicks being in MSG. And a bunch of fans asked him to uncurse them. And ever since they've uncursed them, I believe they went undefeated in the playoffs so far. Wow. I think they actually only have lost one game. And he also cursed, I think he cursed the Thunder or another team. I need to figure this out.
Okay, see.
Let me check.
Wow.
Let me check, man.
Well, I did not know that Danhausen's form of shenanigans can transcend the world of wrestling. It has now transcended into basketball, let alone other sports. I guess the ESPN sort of, I'm gonna go in at ESPN HQ and curse all the things. And go on SportsCenter and all that stuff. I don't think he's on SportsCenter. He's probably on the Stephen A. Smith show, I think. So he cursed the Cavaliers. And in game one of the Cleveland Cavaliers game, they lost to the Knicks after the Knicks came back from like a 22-point deficit in the second half. Oh.
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah, they actually was in the second half. It was in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, they were up 93-71, and then New York came back and actually won it because of Danhausen's curse. At one point, the Cavs had like a 98% chance of winning, and they lost. So I'm telling you this, Bryon. Danhausen is legit. I don't know. I didn't respect him at first. You know what? I gotta respect him now. This is crazy.
Damn. You didn't know his game.
I didn't know his game.
Now you understand.
So.
What would you like Danhausen to do next in terms of cursing?
Okay, so if he could curse, if he could curse maybe the Thunder, that'd be very good. I don't want them winning because they play an ethical. Also, if we could curse Triple H, that'd be great. Maybe you can get him out of this company.
Why would you want to curse Triple H, man? He is bringing out the best in SmackDown right now, man.
Who is booking SmackDown, actually? You might be correct, because it isn't Road Dogg anymore.
No.
No?
Road Dogg is out of here.
So who is actually booking SmackDown right now?
A bunch of writers. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe the AI is writing SmackDown at this point, considering the quality.
Can we curse whoever is booking Raw, please?
You're saying this while you're on the SmackDown show?
Yeah, because I believe that SmackDown is a better show. SmackDown is definitely... I have found myself... I don't know if you're the same way, Bryon.
Wow.
But I have found myself... I found it to be a whole lot easier in predicting SmackDown than it is to predict Raw. I don't know, to me, it just feels like that SmackDown is so much more cohesive and so much more like consistent with its storylines and where they're going versus on Raw. And we can get into the Raw stuff at the Raw episode, but it just feels like it's very random. It feels like that a lot of the storyline has like kind of no direction. So I don't know how you feel about that, but I feel like SmackDown is the better show.
I There's some things I guess on SmackDown that are kind of interesting, but I'm kind of at the inverse here. I feel like SmackDown is the worst
Really?
show than Raw. I think Raw to me, and I think I'm just putting this in terms of enjoyability. When I watch Raw, it seems slightly more, I wouldn't say cohesive, but it's slightly more watchable than SmackDown. I think on SmackDown, I think the biggest problem for me is that not only is it 3 hours, but they're trying to cram in a lot of different storylines, and some of them I don't really feel is going anywhere besides maybe Cody Rhodes and Gunther, I guess, but I don't know. Either the storylines in SmackDown are not that interesting, or you know, it just is there, and you just can't wait for it to be over, I guess. Whereas on Raw, you kind of have the whole Judgment Day thing. You have Division. You have maybe, I guess, Finn and what is his name? Dom. I forgot Dominic Mysterio's name. And who else? Yeah, I just feel like the flow of Raw is much better. I would rather watch that 2 hours and 30 minutes show that's slightly more watchable than SmackDown, but I would say that both of them, in terms of quality, as of late, have been pretty bad. I suppose. Like we're building up to Saturday Night's main event. Out of this 5 matches, I almost said six. Out of the 5 matches on that card at Saturday Night's main event, what matches do you really care about? Not much, really. I mean, you have the 6 woman tag, you have the tag team champs between Division and Street Profits. You have what else? You have other matches on there that are just not that interesting, I think. So, whatever. And then there's Clash in Italy, which have or has, yeah, has 2 matches announced, which is Tribal Combat between Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes versus Gunther. And that's kind of it for Clash in Italy. And then you have SummerSlam coming up. So you got 3 events to build up to. And the shows have not really done a great job building up to not only Saturday's main event, but Clash in Italy. We don't know what the 3 other matches are, but I'm willing to bet that they're probably going to be predictable and they're not going to end any storylines or whatever. They're probably just going to keep it going until SummerSlam, and then that's when they'll blow off a lot of the storylines. So, whatever. That's how I feel at this point. I just don't care about SmackDown. And it'll probably show in this booking. So, I guess that's enough of the opinion piece. That was like 5 minutes wasted on an opinion piece on SmackDown. But this is a show, nevertheless, where we predict and book the next episode of Friday Night SmackDown. And we do that according to these new rules. New rules. New era. Yes. So, for those of you who have not watched the episode that's previous to this, you may have noticed that there are brand new rules, and some of them are related to the addition of backstage and ad-free segments. We decided to include those for our predictions and bookings, as well as when we score our predictions and bookings. And we also included some stuff including, or pertaining to, I should say, debuts from NXT or TNA or maybe in AAA stars. Who knows? Because this company has a lot of allies, I suppose. And, should probably try to incorporate that into what we have here. So after we tell you our predictions and bookings for the next episode of Smackdown, we will then score our predictions and bookings based on this brand new scoring system. So again, kind of mostly the same, except this time we kind of simplified a couple things. We're now doing 1 point instead of half points, and everything must be matching exactly. And for the backstage and ad-free segments, we just kept it simple and basically say, if the backstage segment actually happens in the show, then that's 1 point. So there you go. Scores. I have 5 points, and that is due to the appearance of Cody Rhodes and Gunther in their promo segments, as well as Trick Williams in the opening promo segment. And then we got Shinsuke and Tama, the backstage segment. I got that right somehow, but here we are. So 5 points for me. What about you, Mike?
I also have 5 points. 5 points coming from the Gunther and Cody Rhodes promo, as well as the Jade Cargill promo with Michin and B-Fab, who I guess are classified as a team, and Charlotte and Alexa, who are definitely classified as a team. So, there you go.
Yep. All right. Let's see what is announced for that Friday's episode. So we have only one match, which is Talatonga versus Shinsuke Nakamura. What a great match that will be. So, without further ado, let's book this thing. Get to my version of the show first, as Jade Cargill walks to the ring with her, I guess I should say, woman posse, I guess. She doesn't really have a name for the tag team of B-Fab and Michin, so we'll just call it the woman posse or something. I don't know.
2026 TNA Tag Team Champions. Sorry, 2028 TNA Tag Team Champion Michin and B-Fab.
TNA?
I said 2028, indicating that they're going to get fired next year. And go to TNA.
Oh, right. Okay. I mean, who knows? The TNA is a whole different ball game, with the roster and what's happening there right now. But anyway, Jade Cargill, she talks about the match at Saturday Night's Main Event against Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and Bayley. Yes, this is a match at Saturday Night's Main Event. She says that her posse can easily take all of them down, and Jade can just take Rhea and beat her to a pulp so she can take back the championship that she lost. She's then interrupted by Rhea, Charlotte, and Alexa, who say all the usual face BS, including the fact that they will win at Saturday's Main Event against the heels because they are better than them, and other typical face kind of speech. Brawl ensues, and the heels are on top as the segment ends. I don't care. I don't care about this match. I don't care about who wins. I don't care. I honestly don't really have much to care for Saturday Night's Main Event. Honestly, there's probably like 1 or 2 matches out of the 5 that I kind of care about. But the level of caring is just kind of low. So, I don't know. Do you even call that caring? I don't know. But, yeah. I'm not that interested in Saturday Night's Main Event. Probably just gonna watch it at a second screen, just like all the Netflix content. So I guess they fit in. So there you go. Moving on to Trick Williams versus Kit Wilson. Yes, I will have this be a match because Trick Williams faced The Miz last week. Trick Williams wins by a surprise pinfall. After the match, a surprise Kit Wilson and The Miz beat up Trick Williams, and then Lil Yachty with his kendo stick comes in. He saves Trick by shooing them out of the ring with a kendo stick, and he checks on Trick Williams. I think out of everything that is kind of terrible right now in the WWE, I feel Lil Yachty is one of those celebrity, like what Mike said earlier, the past few episodes. I think Lil Yachty has been a decent kind of celebrity fella who's helping out with Trick here. He's not kind of overstaying his welcome, or he's not sort of grabbing the spotlight at points. I think he is doing his job as a hype man for Trick Williams, kind of helping him out here. And yeah, I don't mind Liliati here. I think he's pretty good. Pretty good. Anyway, we'll move on to Royce Keys versus Solo Sikoa. This ends in a no DQ after Talatonga intervenes on Solo's behalf. They continue to beat down Royce, but Royce is saved by Damien Priest and R-Truth, who come out to brawl with the MFT. Talatonga is stopped by Shinsuke Nakamura. They, do a little brawl. And that's kind of it, I guess. This will lead to a tag team championship match, I think, at SummerSlam. I don't think we'll do it at Clash in Italy. And the MFT will take it back and reestablish the tag team division. Now, why the MFT? Why have the MFT win back the tag team championships? Well, it's just due to the fact that Damien Priest and R-Truth are a makeshift tag team. I do not think they are an official tag team. I would rather put it on an actual tag team like the MFT, who are a faction, which is kind of a tag team. So I would rather put it on them than a makeshift tag team. And I think the MFT with Solo Sikoa kind of taking on a more, I guess, comedic heel kind of deal. I think that would, put them up there when it comes to just making sure that the championship is in focus on SmackDown. And then you can put in some decent tag teams against them and have a decent match. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind putting it back on the MFT. They can, go up against Fraxium. They can put up against Los Garza, I guess. Or some other tag team. I don't know. But, yeah, I'd put him on the MFT, I guess. Moving on. Ilja Dragunov takes on Ricky Saints. I put in a random Ricky Saints match here because he took on some guy last week. So we'll have him take on some other guy this week. So Ricky Saints wins by pinfall. This will get Ricky Saints into the US title picture when he goes up against Carmelo Hayes. And whoever wins that takes on Trick Williams at SummerSlam. And I'm hoping it's going to be Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes. That is a big story. You got the history between the two fellas. And that results in a big personal kind of match at SummerSlam. So, yeah, let's put it at SummerSlam. I don't think they should do it at Clash in Italy. It's kind of a waste in my opinion. Just put it in SummerSlam. So, there you go. First backstage segment. Danhausen shenanigans. Last week, I just put in whatever shenanigans. But this time, it's just going to be the same as last week, where he tries to bring a tall guy to life, but he fails. Kind of like a Frankenstein kind of deal. Now, I heard rumors and speculation that it might be the return of Baron Corbin, but I think it's going to be a bit of a downgrade for Baron Corbin if we go for him, honestly. I think he, is going to be put back into a comedic role after going away for quite a while. I feel like that's going to be a downgrade, so
You're telling me
I would rather put him in a more...
You're telling me we released all this talent to bring back Baron Corbin?
That's what I'm hearing. It might be Baron Corbin.
All right.
Do you have any opinions on Baron Corbin, Mike?
I don't, because I think when I started watching the current iteration of WWE regularly, which was about, 2 years ago? 2.5 years ago?
Yeah.
Baron was barely on TV, and I think he was on his way out around the time I started watching, I never really got to see him. So I don't have any opinion on Baron Corbin. I know that some people think that he, is kind of overrated by some fans. I know he had like a mild presence in like the aughts. Am I right? Like he was kind of the same in
like
the same
late,
status
yeah.
as like Sami Zayn is right now. Like maybe upper mid card guy, occasional main event. Am I right?
He was also a King of the Ring. Let's not. King Corbin was not a good. It was not good. But yeah, he was definitely one of those upper mid card guys. I think he may have also been placed in a main event spot maybe once, but he was definitely one of those like tall guys who Vince wants to push. I think. And eventually he got sick of the kind of slop that he's being given and decided to leave. And I think the reason why is because the slop that they're giving him are kind of comedic. So to have him return as a comedic sort of, gimmick, again, that sort of, is a downgrade right there. And he should probably notice that, so. Anyway, if it is Baron Corbin, then it's not great. If it is some other guy, then we'll see. We'll see. But I will have Danhausen do some shenanigans trying to bring back a tall guy. And make that guy side with him, I guess. But it fails. So, there you go. Nia Jax versus Paige. This is to build up the women's tag team title match at Saturday Night's main event. I will have it end in a DQ when both teams brawl with each other, but the faces are on top. I think the Irresistible Forces will take it at Saturday Night's main event, but I don't care about this match. Sorry. I've never really cared that much about the women's tag team title match, or even the title itself, so oh well. Hopefully Lyra and Bayley just take it from whoever has it pretty soon. That's all I'm asking for. Next, Tama Tonga takes on Shinsuke Nakamura. I will have Shinsuke Nakamura win after a distraction by Tama Tonga fails on Shinsuke. After the match, Tala and Tama get on an argument and Tala leaves him. Tama then turns to Shinsuke. Shinsuke laughs. He sort of smiles at him, kind of proving that, the MFTs are treating him like crap and that he should walk away. And Tama walks away to the back. So I think they are setting up a turn with Tama Tonga and resulting in him walking away from the MFT at Survivor Series. Excuse me, Survivor Series. And this year, if they decide to do War Games, we're probably going to do MFT versus a collection of baby faces again. Or, considering they removed like 3/5 of the MFT, we'll probably have, a couple of heels kind of be substituting some of the members of the MFT here in War Games. And yeah, we're just going to put a bunch of heels in the MFT against a bunch of baby faces, and that's when you'll have that match at War Games, and you'll have Tama turn there. So that's what I think they're setting up. If they're not setting up Tama walking away from the group, then I don't know what we're doing here. So we will wrap it up with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes comes out. He talks about the match against Gunther at Clash in Italy. He says that Gunther still is not signed to Smackdown, apparently, because he is afraid of Cody Rhodes. He says Gunther may be the greatest Intercontinental Champion and World Heavyweight Champion, but he isn't Cody Rhodes. At Clash in Italy, Cody will prove that SmackDown is his show, and that he is the champion of that show when the bell signals the end of the match. Gunther attacks Cody from behind. He then takes out the contract from last week from his back pocket. He signs it, and he throws it at Cody's body that's just lying there in the ring. He walks away smiling as the show goes off the air. So it is confirmed, or I will have it confirmed at the end, that Gunther is signed to SmackDown. And now we will have the match against Cody Rhodes at Clash in Italy. So far, I think the build-up to this match is kind of weird. you kind of had Royce Keys inserted on there to sign a paper when Gunther is just like kind of pussyfooting around and saying, oh, I'm not gonna sign the Smackdown, I guess. I don't know if I'll sign. Should I sign? And it's just like, it's so annoying at this point. Either sign him to Smackdown or don't. And they're kind of, I don't know, tiptoeing around that for some reason. I don't know. Maybe something with his pay cut. I don't know. But I think Gunther and Cody Rhodes is probably going to end up on Gunther winning and leaving Clash in Italy the champion. I hope so. I think Cody's reign has been underwhelming, just as underwhelming, if not more underwhelming, than the last time he held the championship. So, yeah. What a great state of SmackDown, I guess. Questions?
Do you think Gunther takes it from Cody?
Oh. I would say... I mean... Is it too early for Royce Keys? I would say after he is done with the Tongan business, I think Royce Keys should probably be moved up to the upper echelons and try to take it from Gunther. I think Royce Keys and Gunther could have a decent match there. You got the size, you got the muscle, and you got both men who can wrestle. So, yeah, I think it would be a decent match. So I would say Royce Keys. I would also say maybe Ilya Dragunov if he decides to come back. And, after he does the US title thing with Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes, as I put in this booking.
Sorry, buddy, we're only going to accept people that are over 6'2" in our main event scene. Okay, we can't be having any short kings in our main event scene. Sorry, that's not how this works.
What about CM Punk though? Oh wait,
he's on Raw, and he's also grandfathered into this thing.
Yeah, my bad. The person who we should put on the main event should be around late 30s, early 40s.
He's tall.
Talatonga. Yeah. I was gonna say, God, what the hell? Here's the question. If WWE, their main event scene is like a bunch of 30 and 40-year-olds, why the hell is LA Knight not even in the main event scene, guys? What the hell? He's old. You're saying he's old, so just put him in the scene, man. Come on. What are we doing here? Anyway, that's Raw. But I would say, yeah, I would definitely say Ricky Saints. Or, sorry, not Ricky Saints. Freaking Royce Keys. Ricky Saints, potentially, maybe next year. But I feel like Ricky Saints should stay on the US Championship kind of bandwagon there. I feel like he would be great as a mid-card, upper mid-card guy. So, yeah. I would say Royce Keys, probably.
Yeah, I definitely think they're pushing Royce Keys towards a main event scene. So
yeah,
that'll be interesting to see if he can actually hack it, which I think he can. I know in AEW he was both the heel and the face, so I think he'll be fine.
Yes, I'm just thinking, when I watched AEW and he was there. I'm pretty sure, yes, he was both heel and face. Although, I think he was a better heel than a face, so, yeah. Anyway, any other questions, or shall we move on to your card?
We can go to my card.
Alright, let's move on to your card then, starting off with...
I have a Rhea Ripley promo. So Rhea is trying to mend bridges with Charlotte. They've been running this angle for a couple of weeks now, where Rhea and Charlotte are now both faces, and they're trying to get along. They tried this, I think, during Survivor Series as well, where Alexa Bliss is trying to play peacemaker between these two. They still don't trust each other. This is another point in this saga where Rhea and Charlotte don't trust each other, and I think Rhea is going to come out and try to mend bridges with Charlotte. I think they're eventually building to Charlotte challenging Rhea for her title. So, yeah, that is what happens.
Okay. Sounds like a typical build-up to Saturday's main event,
yes.
I guess.
Yes.
Who do you think wins that match? I guess, if you care.
I'm going to say the faces win. I think that Jade needs to take time off of TV so people can cheer her when she comes back eventually, because I think people don't really care for her right now. So.
Yeah. For sure. Okay. So you're going to have the faces win, I suppose.
Yes.
All right. Fair enough. I don't know what else to ask here, so we'll just move on then to...
Alexa Bliss versus Michin. Michin wins this one thanks to interference from Jade Cargill. This is a build-up to Saturday night's main event. Pretty basic stuff.
Yep. All right. No, I don't have anything either. We'll move on from that to... I got nothing to say.
We have a backstage interview with Carmelo Hayes. You guys, another interview this week. Carmelo comes out, says he took care of business last week. So this week, he says, I demand my title shot against Trick Williams, and he wants his U.S. title back. So I think that this happens tonight, but it isn't the end of this saga. So what happens is later in the show, Nick Aldis confirms this match, and this happens later in the evening.
Okay. Interesting. All right, we'll see what you got cooked up for that. But for now, we'll move on to...
another backstage segment. We have Paige and Bree confronting the Irresistible Forces and the Fatal Influence. So basically, Paige and Brie Bella squaring off with the Irresistible Forces before their fight at Saturday night's main event. I think that the Irresistible Forces take this back, and we're planting the seeds here for Fatal Influence being in a tag team feud with the Irresistible Forces for the titles.
Whoa. Really?
Yes.
Okay. So, I think Fatal Influence are heels. And Naya and Lash are also heels. So, you are doing a heel versus heel feud here. I guess what my question is... I'm guessing that whoever wins this will go up against Brie and Paige after the whole Saturday night's main event kind of deal?
Well, no. Aren't Paige and Brie fighting Naya and Lash on Saturday? Yeah. So I'm thinking that Naya and Lash win, and then they feud with Fatal Influence. I think Fatal Influence stays in a tweener role, not really a heel-ish. So you could do heel versus heel. I mean, this isn't the 80s, Brian.
Yeah.
You know.
My bad.
Kayfabe has been broken, according to Netflix.
Yeah.
So
I forgot this is WCW circa 2001. So
that wasn't heel versus heel. That was like heel versus face, but the heel was a face last week. So.
Same thing. Maybe it'll happen maybe this week. I don't know. We'll get a Big Show type of turn where he turns face, and then the next week he turns heel, and then the other week he turns face. So, yeah. Okay, fair enough. We'll move on from that to...
Shinsuke versus Tala Tonga.
Tall.
Tall man. He's a tall boy. That's the only reason he's still in the MFT and still employed is because he's tall. So Shinsuke wins this one. This was booked already and announced. Shinsuke wins despite Solo interfering because of help from Damian Priest. Damian comes out to attack the MFT. Maybe this could also be Royce Keys too, but because Damian Priest was attacked last week and Royce Keys is still somewhat involved in the main event scene, I think Damian gets involved here, maybe to build up for a potential title match again with I guess the MST, if you want to call it, my single Tongan, which is Talatonga, and Solo versus Damian and R-Truth. But I can also see this being Royce Keys as well because Solo cost him his title shot last week. So
Okay. So, I mean, do you think this leads to a tag team championship match between the MFT and Damian Priest and R-Truth? And I guess who do you think would win that one if it does happen?
I think the MFT can win that one. I think we need to get titles off of this transitionary tag team between Damian Priest and R-Truth. That's really what it feels like they're just holding it for the next team to come along.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, definitely agree. Okay, who do you think would be? I mean, you got Fraxium. They got Motor City Machine Guns got let go, right?
Yes.
So, I mean,
maybe if
what other tag
if someone
teams would shoot?
can revive Johnny Gargano from his coma, we can pair him with someone.
Yeah, someone. I don't know. Someone from NXT, I guess.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring someone who's like bald and has a beard that suspiciously looks like Ciampa, but not exactly.
I think I told you this already, in messages, but I haven't said it on the show. So I was driving. The only reason I think of this is because this happened in the same town that Gargano is from. Not Gargano, geez, fucking Tommaso Ciampa is from. Anyway, what happened was I was driving like down Main Street, like one of the main roads in that city, and I saw a sign that was put in like the median, and I took a quick glance at it, and I was like, does that fucking say Dolph Ziggler on it? I was like, what the fuck am I seeing? So I continue driving around the rotary, go all the way, down the street, and I finally pull up to another intersection where another sign is planted, and I get a good look at it, and I'm like, yeah, that does say Dolph Ziggler. So apparently Dolph is doing the indie scene now, and he's going to be at a show near us, Brian. So
nice, good for Dolph.
Yes, good for Dolph.
Yeah,
I remember him because he had that one match at the John Cena tournament. So.
Ah, right. He also had a delicious meme, I should say. There was a meme attached to him where I think it was on a feud with, was it like Bobby Lashley or something way back when? And he said like, it should have been me.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
That was like that was a meme. Yeah. Great wrestler though. And apparently he did some like stand-up as well,
nice.
Like stand-up comedy. I don't know if it's funny, but I guess
can't be worse than
makes
Sami
the bills. The hate for Sami Zayn floweth from Mike today. But yeah, good for Dolph. Anyway, this just entered my mind, but. This doesn't really apply to TNA or the Indies, but did you know that Mick Foley signed to AEW?
I did not know that. I'm not totally surprised, given that as like a in-ring talent or like a backstage contributor?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the full details, but if he is wrestling in AEW, then why? At this age, Mick? Seriously? Please?
I mean, you know that, man. His bones are made of, like, vibranium or some shit.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, that company there is known for, bloodletting and a lot of, matches for the sickos. So I think Mick Foley can do fine over there. So should be good. Anyway, enough about that. We'll move on to
U.S. title match: Carmelo Hayes versus Trick Williams. I think this match gets going, and then The Miz and Ricky Saints both run in to cause a no contest. Maybe Kit Wilson is involved too, but I think this is going to point towards a fatal four-way at Clash in Italy. Why do I have The Miz involved? Well, I think with this whole Danhausen segment going on, and Danhausen, I guess, having effectively finished his feud, sort of, against The Miz and Kit Wilson, I think maybe The Miz is trying to look for a new partner, and he finds Ricky Saints, and they both want to go after the U.S. title and get back at title scene, especially with Miz wanting to get the title back. And this leads to a fatal four-way. Do I think Danhausen gets involved in the match? Probably. I think that the Danhausen-Miz feud has been one of the better storylines, ironically enough, for the past year. So I can definitely see that continuing into Clash. And I think that either Carmelo or Trick probably take it at Clash, and I think we have a rematch at SummerSlam.
Rematch between Trick and
Carmelo.
Carmelo?
Yes.
Okay. Alright. Solid. And would you just have The Miz and Ricky Saints just go in the background, and then whoever wins that kind of...
They go on to deal with Danhausen again. They're in the Dan house,
okay. And the Dan house. Who do you when do you think the tall man Tallhausen, is that the name?
Tallhausen.
I mean, I don't know what you call it, but when do you think that tall Danhausen kind of guy shows up?
I can definitely see him showing up at the next PLE. You know, if they do another bit where he opens up the cloning machine and it's Tallhausen. Maybe Tallhausen wheeling Minihausen as a weapon.
That would be fun. I mean, hey, could happen for sure. Do you think it'll be Baron Corbin? Or do you think it'll be like Braun Strowman or something? Omos? Can we see Omos?
It would be very funny if it was Omos. It would make a lot of sense because Omos isn't like... Isn't Omos in TN... No, sure, he's in AAA, right? So it could be Omos.
I think it's in AAA.
Yeah, and like Omos is... He's like Obafemi minus all the skill. No offense, but I think he'd work really well as Tallhausen because he's tall.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for Talatonga versus Tallhausen. That would be a fantastic match right there at SummerSlam.
Peak of brain rot. There we go.
Book it, Trips. Book it. Anyway. Okay. Fair enough. We'll move on to
a Gunther promo. Gunther comes out with 2 contracts in hand. He walks out to the ring and he says, I have 2 contracts here. One to sign as a member of the Smackdown roster and one for the title fight in Clash in Italy. So Gunther signs the first contract, hands it off to Nick Aldis. Gunther goes to sign the second contract, and he is interrupted by one Royce Keys. So if Royce Keys doesn't get involved in Shinsuke's business earlier tonight, I think Royce Keys comes out and confronts Gunther. He says that no matter who wins at Clash in Italy, he's coming after the belt afterwards. There's a bit of a tense stare down, but ultimately, Royce, being booked as a face, walks away, and Gunther signs the contract. Gunther is then attacked from behind by one Cody Rhodes. I think we're going to start playing more to Cody's heelish tendencies here. So, yeah, I think that's how this segment ends with Cody standing on top here.
Okay, so I feel like this whole build has been kind of strange. I don't know if you feel the same. Because this whole Gunther kind of being like, maybe I'll sign, maybe not. Maybe that's kind of mind games, I guess. But I don't know. What do you think about the whole build for Gunther versus Cody Rhodes so far? Do you think it's been, okay, I guess? Where do you think...
It's been underwhelming for the type of match that it is. Like, ideally, it should be a massive deal. Gunther is a massive deal. I mean, he retired John Cena, AJ Styles. So and Goldberg. I never forget Goldberg. He should, and he's going after the main title against Cody Rhodes. I mean, ideally this should be a massive deal, but it seems like it's just kind of like happening. And they're not really giving it the gravity that it deserves, per se. It should be like Gunther coming out and, cutting promos every week, dissecting Cody's character, trying to get underneath his skin, not this like pussyfooting, I'm better than you, I don't need to sign this shit type deal. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and okay, so you're saying that, we're kind of slowly building Cody's sort of heelish character here. Do you think that comes to fruition at the end of the year, or maybe earlier than that? Or are we going to see this sort of, I don't know, Cody Lander, I guess? Could we see it next year? I mean, how kind of, I guess, how extreme do you think this sort of heel Cody character could be maybe as the year goes on?
I don't think they're going to turn Cody fully heel. If they were going to do that, they would have done it at WrestleMania, which they didn't do. Maybe because of Pat McAfee, who knows. But my thinking is they're going to turn him more into a tweener, like an anti-hero, almost like a CM Punk.
Yeah.
Where he's sort of... Like he does occasionally use heelish tactics to win, but overall he's seen as a kind of face. I think they stick him more in a tweener role. It seems like in the current day, we don't really have, even though Cody has been billed as like a white meat baby face, those really aren't super popular. Because if you've seen Cody's act over the past couple of months, he's been more heelish. He's used title, he's attacked him from behind, used other items. Like he's not been a white meat baby face. He's definitely been more leaning towards the tweener side. So I think that's where they're gonna go, because I think that's what makes him more popular. So.
Yeah, and it's probably a response to the people being like, Cody's kind of a boring character. There's not much interesting about Cody. I guess they want him to lean more into kind of those, again, as you say, the anti-hero sort of behavior, and, try to make him less of a white meat baby face and more of an anti-hero for sure. It's probably a response to the whole criticism regarding him and his character and his reign as champion. So, yeah, it makes sense. I guess we'll have to see if that results in any, payoffs as we get to summer and then the rest of the year. So, yeah, with that, that's about it. That's all we got for our predictions and bookings for the next episode of Friday Night Smackdown. And as I said earlier, we will watch the next episode of Friday Night Smackdown as it drops, and then we will score our predictions and bookings based on, how accurate it is. Obviously, we'll come back here and tell you what we got and do this whole thing all over again. So until then, thank you for ordering a slice of probably next week on SmackDown from Grapperinos. And remember, if you're down for some fresh, oven-baked, crispy wrestling content, stop on by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, everybody.